Hello. Um, Today, I was going to talk about something that happened to me earlier today. So, typically, now that I am job searching, um, trying to put a positive spin on it, I try to have a routine. And so, part of that routine is waking up, doing the job search right away, getting it out of the way. And I usually just do a job search on anything put out there in the last 24 hours. If you do that every day, you should catch everything. Um, it doesn't always work, but you get most things, and that way you're like one of the first ones to apply to it. So I did that, and then afterwards I went for a run. And so typically I run around the baseball and football stadium here in South Philadelphia. And in the morning there's no one there, unless there's a like noon game or 1 o'clock game, which there isn't today. It's pretty empty. There are some warehouses, so you might see trucks around, but there's really not that many people down there, and that's actually kind of important to the story. So the parking lots there are empty. There are some trucks because we're at the junction of 76 and 95, which are two major highways here in Pennsylvania. And, 95 is one of the largest highways in the country. 76 goes from New Jersey out to at least to Cleveland. I don't, or to, at least to Pittsburgh. From there, I don't know. And so there are a lot of trucks around there, but not always, and they're usually a little bit further away from the stadiums. So I was running around, not just running around, but like running, and my ankle, somewhere between my ankle and my heel, started seizing up. So I decided I was just gonna stop running and walk the rest of the way. And I walked past um, the Phillies Stadium, Citizens Bank Park, and past the subway. And I'm walking up towards where I live. And I do this double take where I notice something. There's a person lying on the pavement or the sidewalk, and it startled me. Now, in Philadelphia, and I've noticed this throughout the years, Philadelphia has more and more people especially in center city Philadelphia, who just live on the street. Now, most of these people, I don't know what each, I'm sure each one of them has an individual story of how they got there. From my own experience, a lot of these people uh, are not just people who have fallen on hard times, they have um, mental problems, and some of them just can't hold down a job. They might have substance abuse problems. So they're alcoholics or drug addicts, or, and that's the most important thing to them is getting their next score. So if you give them money, you're only hurting them. So typically, what I do is if I do get something like a sandwich, I'll give you a sandwich, but I won't give you money. I typically almost never give people money, mostly because I don't because if they're substance abusers, they're just you're only feeding the fire. And so I see this person, and I don't want to kick a person when he's down, like literally or figuratively, but he shat himself, and you could see it because his underwear was kind of sticking out. His pants were sort of halfway between his knee and his ass. I thought that's unfortunate. But this is what it does to you. You kind of look at it almost as if it's matter of fact. It's not something to panic about, because you kind of know, or at least you're playing the odds that this person has done this to himself, And I don't know that you should pity people who do that, at least on the surface. You might pity the person at a deeper level for being in such a bad way, but there's very little as you as a passerby can do about it. So, but I was actually concerned about the person's like life, their immediate safety, but I didn't have a phone on me. I run with a an old beat up um, iPhone from about 6 or 7 years ago, and it doesn't have a SIM card. It's basically just a crappy iPod, so it doesn't have any phone function on it. And now I was thinking like, all right, and I prodded the person a little bit. So there was breathing, but I was not getting a response. And I thought, oh, geez, it's another like 3/4 of a mile back home before I can get to anyone. And if I stop anybody, they'll look and roll their eyes at me. So I walked back home and I thought, all the way I was walking. So it took me about 15 minutes to get back home. And all the while I was walking, I was thinking like, am I a bad person? Because I know this person isn't like, I know like the odds are that this person's just a really screwed up individual, and I don't know. I don't really want to get tangled up in this person's life. On the other hand, I thought that's very uncharitable. Maybe this person, it has mental problems and the family's looking for him. I don't know. Uh, I don't know anything about this person other than he's lying there. So I walked back and on Oregon to I live sort of where Oregon and Oregon Avenue and Broad Street meet. They're doing road work, and I thought, oh, that's good because usually when they do big road work, there's a cop there, and I sort of waved at the cop because I don't. Cops can be a little bit jumpy these days. I understand. And he rolled down his window, and I told him about the person, and he just said, "Oh, okay. I think somebody's just called in something near the Phillies stadium, so that's probably him." And I thought, okay, good. And so I left, and I thought I felt relieved that this problem had been taken care of, or at least the wheels were in motion. But it still left me with a bad feeling. I don't know. That I I could have run, but I didn't want to do any like more damage to myself. And I guess that's one of the problems when you deal with sort of this issue and you think about it in terms of probability. That you'd say, well, there are so many people in this city and in large cities who are homeless or who sleep on the street or who knows what they're doing and who knows why they're doing it, how long they've been doing it, how long they intend to do it, how long they actually will do it, before they die, before they get locked up, or before they're committed to an institute. I don't know. I honestly don't know anything about this, but you're sitting there thinking this person's just going to be a druggie, or this person's a drunk. Um, that, but that's really uncharitable. Maybe that if this person survives, maybe he had an overdose. Um, that this might be the bottom that he has to reach in order to change his life. I'm not an overt Christian. I tend to believe in a lot of Christian values. I don't go to church. I believe in a lot of the redemptive spirit of Christianity is that we can always make it better, and we can always, even if if Hitler had not killed himself and was captured and put in jail, I think that you could probably say that he could redeem himself. Even an evil man like that probably wouldn't happen, but it's it's possible. I believe in that. And there's no fact in that. There's no to say that with probability is basically to negate him or to deny this person, Hitler, whoever's doing something wrong. You're denying this person his or her opportunity to turn it around because you're playing the odds. You're making a judgment on this person's life. Um, and mostly because they've posed a moral dilemma to you or they've posed an inconvenience to you. And I'm having a hard time with the idea of people being inconveniences, as if they're just objects in your way, obstacles in your course, that I would get home faster, or I wouldn't have this nagging feeling in my chest about the whole thing. And on the other hand, I know for a fact that most of these people actually are either nuts or drug addicts, or this is a problem bigger than lost his job, doesn't have a family, he's on the street. Because I could be there soon, you know, if that's the case. Um, and you can't help but want to root for a person like that just to pull his life around. But I don't know that I'm the administrator of that change. Anyway, I got home and I've just been thinking about it ever since. I just took my shower, and I'm probably going to dwell on this for the rest of the day. But it really did make me think about the duty that I have towards other people. I mean, there's the duty of not putting a burden on somebody, especially somebody who isn't willing to take it on. So you can't just ask for tons of money from somebody you don't know. That's not fair. It's not. I don't even know if it's fair to ask for money from anyone, really, um, unless they're willing to just give the money. I don't know. On the other hand, you look at the person like that and you think, well, what can I do for this person? I think this person's problems are bigger than, well, one, the immediate problem. That's my main concern. Is like, I hope this person's not OD'd or, there was breathing, so this person's still alive, but who knows how long that will be. It isn't very hot today, but it might be getting hotter later. There's a Phillies game tonight, um, and that might, I don't know, ruffle the Phillies' feathers. I'm sure that no baseball team in the league or any business at all wants people passed out in front of their place of work, or even if it's just bad, it's a bad look. I, but on the other hand, like you do care that people just don't drop dead in the middle of the street. I don't know. I don't know what my duties are for this. Um, I honestly I don't know if it's right to give money to these homeless people because they're probably going to spend it on things that I think are not helpful to their lives. Cigarettes, alcohol, drugs. I don't think um, that I should be giving money towards that. So you have to, if you want to give money. I save change I find outside. Um, and I probably have a few bucks and quarters and things like that. And I don't know where to give it. Suppose I could give it to like a sort of some sort of poor box at a church, but I don't really go to a church. Um, I don't really. nowhere to do it that's convenient, because if I end up spending all day just to give $2, it's kind of a waste of time. On the other hand, like, I suppose every penny counts. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. It is something that I think about every now and then, especially if I walk around Center City and just see it's getting worse. And I don't, I don't know how it's gonna get fixed. Um, this thing's like way above my level of competence, but it doesn't sit very well with me. And I understand why people move out to the suburbs where this just isn't a problem. You don't get homeless people out in the suburbs. You don't get people begging for money on those, uh, suburban subdivisions or anything like that. So it's a reality that you face living here in the city. And unfortunately, the problem seems to be getting worse rather than better. And I have no clue about how to fix it. But it is something that I have to think about because I have to see it. And unfortunately, with like me, like a lot of other people, there's this idea of out of sight, out of mind. And it's such an unsatisfactory way of thinking about things. It's just the ostrich option of just burying your head in the sand, pretending that the problem isn't there. On the other hand, I'm not a crusader or someone who goes out and tries to save the world as people always burn out. I've seen it happen to friends of mine, or it even happened to my mom. She worked in a homeless shelter, and it just you get something that's called compassion fatigue, where these intense feelings of wanting to do something, feeling hopeless, and really trying to be there for a person, and knowing that they're just not going to be, they're not going to do the right thing or what you think is the right thing, either because they don't want to, their drug addiction is so strong that they just can't overcome the just physical need for the drug, and then they're willing to neglect their health, um, their living condition, their friends, their family, everything for that drug. It's no way to live your life. But I can't, I've seen so many people burn out on that, and you don't want to turn jaded or cynical about the world. But on the other hand, you shouldn't just switch off that caring uh, feature in your soul. And I'm at a point where I just don't know. I don't know. I need to figure out something, an attitude, like sort of a standing order for my mind of, okay, this is how I approach these people because I'm going to run into these people quite often, and I don't know what to do. So if you do watch this, tips, help, philosophy, whatever it is, please let me know because I'm at a loss. See you soon. Bye.